Greetings, my friends. It's another fresh day, and today I want to talk to you about integrity, because integrity is the glue that holds your self-image together. If you find yourself struggling to find a sense of comfortability within yourself, if you're not comfortable in your own skin, then it's a good chance that you aren't exercising your personal integrity. Now, it's important that you understand that your integrity is the glue that holds your self-image together. Your integrity is what allows you to go out into the world and maintain a level of supreme confidence, especially in the face of adversity, obstacles, and setbacks. Now, unfortunately, most people haven't been shown the importance of integrity or how to create their own integrity. They have been told that integrity is based upon someone else's rules, but the reality is your integrity represents your self-imposed rules about how you're going to live your life. For me, to make it simple, what I did was I created a concept called the integrity triangle. Now, we all know a triangle, has two sides and a base, and those two sides and the base within the context of the integrity triangle, to me, they represent the top three boundaries that you live within. My integrity triangle is simple. Number one, or one leg of the triangle, principles over paper. Number two, business before pleasure. Number three, family before friends. Principles before paper. The principles that I choose to live by are a collection of what I believe is valuable. For example, I believe that it's valuable to be true to yourself, to trust yourself, and to believe in yourself, regardless of what you see with your eyesight. Now, most people, unfortunately, they won't give themselves permission to do that. They won't use their personal power to trust in themselves, to believe in themselves, and to be true to themselves so that they can get from where they are to where they want to be. But I believe that you can create that rule, for example, and choose to live by it, because believe it or not, there are some people who really don't believe in trusting themselves. And you'll hear them say, I really don't trust myself, but you got to really stop when a person says something like that, because what they're ultimately telling you is, I'm not comfortable in my own skin. My self-image of who I believe I am is very fragmented, it's very fragile. And when I look in the mirror, I'm not happy with what I see, which is why I don't trust myself, which is why I don't believe in myself, which is why I'm not true to myself. And it's important that you are able to understand that, because if that person isn't true to themselves, if that person doesn't believe in themselves, if that person doesn't trust in themselves, then they're not going to trust you. They're not going to believe in you. They're not going to be true to you. And you can save yourself a lot of time, effort, energy, and money by accepting up front that, hey, this person isn't who I think they are. One of the 50th laws, in the 50th law by Robert Greene and 50 Cent, that's the first chapter right there. See things as they are. Practice intense realism. And it's important that you stop trying to control your environment and start accepting your environment and then controlling yourself and adapting to the environment that you are in. And you're able to do that effectively and smoothly by being true to yourself, by trusting yourself, and by believing in yourself. So that's just one of the principles that I've chosen to live by, that I've used my personal power to live by. So principles before paper. Ideally, you're going to have more than one principle, and there's going to be some basic principles. For example, as a man, I believe that you aren't supposed that. No, I'm not going to say something. No, as a man, you don't deal with your partner's woman. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. No matter how much you want to do, no matter how much you want her, no matter how much she wants you. If that woman is with another man that you call your boy, and whatever they going through, she ends up, trying to choose up on you, you better, because of my principles, I'm not going to go after that paper. Now, paper doesn't necessarily have to be cash money. Paper could be whatever you want per se. So it could be cash, it could be the woman in this case, or it could be revenge. But whatever you believe your paper is, I believe that regardless of whatever you believe your paper is, that principles over paper. So that's one leg of my integrity triangle: principles over paper. Now I have 10 commandments of freshness and 10 commandments of greatness. Those are pretty much the principles that I've chosen to live by. So do your best to sit down and decide and define what these principles are for yourself. You might have an uncle, you might have a friend who you're like, man, I really enjoy him, I really like how he lives. Ask that person, well, what are some of the principles that you live by? And then emulate those. So either create your own or just take the ones that they've already given you. Because you don't have to reinvent the wheel, gentlemen. It's just a matter of you first wanting to know what these principles are. Then when you get them, then you say, okay, here's how I'm going to live, here's what I'm going to do. Now, secondly, the second leg, or my second principle in my integrity triangle: business is for pleasure. I believe that life is business and business is life. That's a principle. But nevertheless, life is business and business is life. And business comes for pleasure. So you're going to see me, within that, what I basically mean by that, my priority will always be business for pleasure. So before you see me indulge in anything that I feel is pleasurable, I must take care of business first. It isn't let's have fun and then take care of business, because if we have fun first, then we're never going to take care of business. It's like, no, we're going to take business, and however long it takes for us to take care of business is how long it's going to take. Because your best or enough is not a number. Enough is your best. So business before pleasure. You can come at me on a pleasure tip, but 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to be dealing with you, because I expect you to come at me business first, because that lets me know that we're on the same level. That lets me know you're respecting and living within my golden triangle, my integrity triangle. Because as I always tell anybody else, if you want to deal with me, my world, my rules, period. I've chosen to create my own world like you. However, there are individuals who aren't strong enough to make that happen, so they must go and live within someone else's world. But nevertheless, if you want to deal with me, you're going to deal with me how I want to be dealt with. And how I want to be dealt with is based upon my integrity triangle. Principles over paper, and now we're on business before pleasure. So business comes first, ladies and gentlemen. Business always has been and always will be first. And I believe that me having business before pleasure as a leg in my integrity triangle has allowed me to overcome a lot of obstacles. It has allowed me to bounce back from a lot of setbacks, and it's ultimately allowed me to excel in life, because unlike most of the individuals that I've dealt with, my peers, whether it was from preschool to high school to college, I've always been that guy in a sense academically, where I've always been literally a grade point average above those that I've typically been around. Now, I don't say that to brag. I'm just saying that to say that I believe that I've been on that level because business always came in for pleasure to me. I vividly remember plenty of times in college, for example, where plenty of my peers always chose pleasure over business, but then when it came time to take care of business, then it was like, oh, let me figure out how I can, pimp the system or work the system and try to get out of the situation. So ultimately, what I just learned early on was that you waste more time pursuing pleasure first. So just handle your business across the board, and then you'll be able to enjoy your pleasure. Now, lastly, the last leg, the base, family over friends. Now, you don't have to, I believe that to be family, you don't have to be a blood relative, because there's plenty of blood relatives who don't act like they're family. And there's plenty of people who aren't your blood relative who do act like your family. So you can have a blood relative who is a friend, and I believe you can have a non-blood relative, someone who isn't your blood relative as your family. And from that, I believe that you must accept that, hey, the people who are in my blood, at times I would say, you got to accept that, hey, these people aren't who they say they are. So I need to ensure that I'm taking care of me first. So, like I said, family over friends. And like I said before, you don't have to necessarily be my blood relative to be my family. You could be my non-blood relative and you can still be family. You could be my blood relative and still be a friend. But realize that my family will come before friends. So in the name of integrity, understand that your integrity is the glue that holds your self-image together. So to ensure that it's super strong, you must do your best to implement your principles to the fullest. So my challenge to you is right now, draw a triangle and then write out your top 3 boundaries that you are choosing to live within. Because until you know the boundaries that you're going to live within, then you're never going to be operating at 100%. Your success will always be marginal because you haven't chosen to define the boundaries of the game. Just like in sports, without a goal, what's the point of playing football? I mean, what's the point of playing basketball? What's the point of playing soccer? You can't score without a goal. You can't in football. You can't score without an end zone or getting past the goal line. So you have to create these goal lines. You have to create these courts, these boundaries for yourself to play within. And until you do that, you won't be as successful as you really can be. I hope that you take me up on that challenge and do yourself a favor by defining your integrity triangle, because until you do, as I said before, your success will be marginal at best. Stay fresh, my friends.